What about, obviously I don't have a point for this one, so I'll just go to my good point on this one, which is, it's funny because I actually have had so much skepticism about these moves. It's basically, I've just written it this way, that Astralis is just filled with elite talent again. Like, obviously they have 4 of the top 20 players from the HLTV's top 20 in their list. And by the way, mainly justified. I think the only debatable ones may be Yabby. Maybe some people don't think he's on. But like, aside from that, the other 3 are all bona fide, even if fans hate on Blame F. So the reason I bring this up as my good point is, actually, it sort of took me a while to like, actually, for the impact of this actual lineup to like hit me properly. Because when I first saw it, like my first thought, like we talked about on a past episode, was like, but if you're doing the roles, haven't you got the wrong heroic players? Wouldn't you have gone with like Shush and Tessus to fit around like Devicer? So first of all, to make a classic style of team in Counter-Strike or composition, I just thought, I don't know if these are the right moves. Aren't they going to be role clashes, or someone can't be the star anymore, you know, whoever that might be? You can obviously make your own speculations. And then also there's the angle, obviously, that like Blame F remains as the IGL. They didn't keep Glaive, like no one knows yet. Will he be the IGL of a team that can actually win trophy? There's that whole thing. But then once I got past all that, because all of that, by the way, is unresolved until I see them play. I can't know if they ever did that. But I'll tell you what, once I get past all that and like turn off just the analytical part of my brain and just turn on the part that watches teams and enjoys watching great Counter-Strike. It is fucking mad exciting though to have these 4 players on one team though. Like, I don't know how they will make it work, but just the what if of if they somehow can really get all 4 of these players to be anywhere close to this level, or like 3 at the level and 1 slightly worse, but somehow fit. Like suddenly, think about all these years of Astralis, even though they had Device and then obviously before they had Config and Blame F, they were always sort of like half a team. Like to me, they were always like at least 2 pieces away from being good. So I always felt like, oh, what a waste. It's almost like a retirement home for like the old players, isn't it? Like they're never going to be relevant. Like they haven't got the team yet, guys, but man, this like they've got all the best Danish players again. Like the joke is only what Carrigan and like 1 or 2 other people aren't in this team right now. Like actually, that is exciting in itself. So even if it ends up failing, I guess I am sort of like hooked even on the angle of like, I'll be watching. I'll watch the drama of it failing in that case, because actually, like, I've just sort of got into the hype of the 4 names now. Like, I'm pretty hyped for this. Like, I've been hyped for Astralis in years, guys. Like, this actually could be really exciting, I think. What do you think of this lineup, Thomas?
Nah, it's definitely a good lineup on paper, right? Like, it's a perfect lineup for him, but I think the roles are a bit strange. I don't think, well, someone's got to be doing like the shit role, right? And I can't see Blame doing it, so I'd imagine it's probably like Yabby or something. But I don't know, like, it's 2 different styles. Like Astralis had their style, Heroic had their style. I don't know if there's much of a clash. Like, we practiced them a bit. You know, they are obviously, the firepower is immense on that team. But like, I think it's also, you can't judge CS2 to CS2 as a 1-to-1 anymore.
All right.
Like, you can't look at people and be like, okay, in CS:GO this guy was like mentor, like, but in CS2 he could be awful, you know, because
Right.
like I think the actual meta of the game has like completely shifted. You're gonna see like way more of these random weird rounds where people can just get a load of kills.
Right.
Like it's a much different. It's a very different game compared to CS:GO, how it's being played as well, because you can't play the methodical sort of like thing. You got to take
Right.
way more risk because like there's less rounds, you know. You damage your economy, you're pretty much buggered for like 3 rounds. So yeah, like I think heroic style going into the Astralis style, I think honestly, I think they'll do great because they've got so much firepower. I don't know longevity wise, but we'll see. We'll have to see.
Just a remark on the meta shifting. I do feel like when I've been watching these qualifiers, the teams that are just super active, and I just feel like peaking is still is very strong right now. And so being the more active player, like anytime I see a person walking forward in a straight line, I'm like, you're just gonna lose. You're just gonna always lose. You can't.
Yep.
You're never gonna recover from those kinds of situations. And so I feel like if they're able to combine that kind of active style, because in a weird way, I've almost noticed that, say, like, you put yourself in a T-side situation, you get a single kill, and you try to hold and punish for a re-aggression. I actually feel like that's a weaker play than it used to be. I don't,
Oh, it definitely is, yeah.
yeah,
Like holding the angle is so bugged now because like the player models, like when you're moving, is actually more accurate. Like
yes, yeah. So like that's actually one thing where when I watch this Astralis team play, I feel like Blame F is maybe catching up in terms of the style you need to call in T-set, because actually so far at the closed qualifier where they're 2-1. what's really interesting about the stats of Astralis is that they have one of the highest opening kill rates on T side, but they're beneath 50% on round win percentage. They have 54%, they're getting the opening kill on T side, but they're only winning 44% of their T side rounds. And I feel like they haven't yet recognized that you need to actually just keep being active after you get a kill. And that's why I feel like it's a little bit random in some of these rounds, because it's almost like you should just build off of the momentum of getting a kill in a round and just keep going on T sides. It's like you just need to be like a little bit quicker. And I think Astralis are still trying to slow things down a little bit more, but definitely with CS2 and Peeker's advantage, it's not as effective, and definitely in online CS2, it's less effective. So I think they have a little bit of a ways to go, but I do agree with Thorin that like this roster on paper right now is incredibly strong, and if everything kind of clicks and they are able to fix a couple things and just, recognize maybe we need to actually play a little bit more up tempo, which has never really been BlameF's signature, I think they could actually still do a lot of damage, and they should be the Danish super team for all intents and purposes.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.